You've tried being the nice guy. You swallowed disrespect. You laughed off insults. You stayed quiet when you should have spoken. And when you finally did speak, you over-explained. You justified yourself. You chased their approval like it was oxygen. But here's the ugly truth. The more you chased respect, the less you got. You felt it. With the girl who pulled away when you started caring more. With the boss who kept piling on work because you never said no. With friends who only called when they needed something and vanished when you did. You start to question yourself. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe this is just how people are. Maybe I should just stay quiet and take it. No, you're not weak. You're just unarmed. The world doesn't reward the loudest voice. It respects the clearest line. The man who can look someone in the eye and, without raising his voice, make it crystal clear where he stands. That's the power of your words when they're backed by self-respect. That's the power of Stoicism in a modern, noisy, disrespectful world. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." In plain language, decide the kind of man you are and let your behavior match it. A man with standards. A man with boundaries. A man whose calm voice carries more weight than another man screaming. In this video, you're going to learn 5 phrases that quietly command respect without shouting. 5 verbal blades you can carry into your daily life. Phrases for when someone plays games with your time. When a partner crosses a line and thinks you'll stay. When a coworker talks down to you. When your own mind tries to drag you back into overthinking and self-doubt. These phrases are not tricks. They're expressions of a deeper identity. Disciplined, grounded, unshakable. The goal is simple. You stop begging. You stop chasing. You stop trying to win arguments. And you start living as a man whose calm presence sets the tone in the room. Before we go deeper, take a second and lock this in. If you're serious about becoming that kind of man, about stepping into your stoic power, make sure you're subscribed. This isn't just a channel. It's a training ground for men done with disrespect. And if you're really ready, drop this in the comments right now. I choose calm strength over noisy weakness. Because that's what this is about. Calm strength. Dangerous calm. The kind of energy that doesn't need to shout to be felt. In a moment, you're going to discover the first phrase. It's simple. It's clean. And it instantly flips the script from you chasing them to them realizing who they're dealing with. You've spent years explaining yourself. Now you're going to learn how to say less and be respected more. You've spent years talking too much and being heard too little. Now we start sharpening the blade. You said in the comments, I choose calm strength over noisy weakness. Good. Now your words have to match that identity. The first phrase is simple, but it cuts deep. That's not acceptable to me. Read it again in your mind. Not angry, not emotional, just firm. Most men never use a phrase like this because they're afraid. Afraid she'll leave. Afraid the boss will get upset. Afraid friends will pull away. So they swallow disrespect and call it keeping the peace. But you feel the cost. You lose sleep replaying conversations. You overthink what you should have said. You feel small in situations where you should feel solid. That's not acceptable to me. Does 3 things at once. It defines your standard. It puts the focus on your boundary, not their character. And it forces people to see you as a man with a line they cannot cross. Imagine this. You're texting someone you're dating. They disappear for days, then come back with a casual, "Sorry, I've been busy." Old you makes a joke, lets it slide, secretly feels sick. Stoic you. That's not acceptable to me. No essay, no emotional speech, just a clear line. At work, your boss dumps last-minute work on you again, expecting you to stay late with 0 notice. Old you sighs, complains internally, says yes. Stoic you. That's not acceptable to me. I need notice in advance. Marcus Aurelius said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. For you, that becomes, if it's not acceptable, don't pretend it is. You're not punishing people. You're protecting your self-respect. Say this out loud. I do not negotiate my self-respect. The second phrase builds on the first. It's short, controlled, and incredibly powerful. No, that doesn't work for me. Notice how calm it sounds. No excuses. No story. No nervous over-explaining. You've been conditioned to feel guilty for saying no. So you stack reasons. I'm really tired. I had a long day. Maybe next week. I'm so sorry. All that does is tell people your no is weak and can be argued with. No, that doesn't work for me is different. It's a closed door said with open calm. A friend invites you to something that clashes with your priorities. Party, trip, distraction. Old you says yes, then resents it. Stoic you. No, that doesn't work for me. Then silence. Your ex suddenly wants to catch up at midnight. Old you feels flattered, responds instantly. Stoic you looks at the message, remembers the chaos, and replies, no, that doesn't work for me. Epictetus taught, no person is free who is not master of himself. Freedom isn't just about doing whatever you want. It's the strength to say no to what weakens you. This phrase is a declaration of internal leadership. You are telling the world, my time, energy, and peace are not open buffet. Say this to yourself. I am not available for what weakens me. If these phrases are hitting you in the chest right now, pause and hit like, not for the algorithm, but as a small act of commitment. You're training your nervous system to stand up for you, not against you. You've learned how to draw the line and how to say no without drama. Next, we go even deeper. We're going to talk about what to say when people push your opinions, try to drag you into arguments, or make you feel like you have to defend every decision you make. That's where the next phrase comes in, the one that turns you from reactive into untouchable. You've drawn the line. You've learned to say no. Now we deal with a different kind of disrespect. Not the obvious one, the subtle one. The one that shows up as people questioning your choices, mocking your standards, or trying to drag you into pointless arguments just to see you lose your cool. This is where most men get trapped. They feel attacked, so they defend. They feel misunderstood, so they over-explain. They feel challenged, so they argue. And in that moment, they lose power, because now the other person controls the frame. The third phrase gives that frame back to you. You're free to feel that way. I see it differently. Say it slowly in your mind. You're free to feel that way. I see it differently. No anger. No need to prove anything. No desperate need to be understood. Someone says, you're overreacting. It's not that serious. Old you tries to explain your feelings in a 3-page emotional essay. Stoic you. You're free to feel that way. I see it differently. A family member laughs at your boundaries. You've changed. You're so cold now. Old you gets defensive, tries to convince them you're still nice. Stoic you. You're free to feel that way. I see it differently. On social media, someone tries to bait you into a pointless debate, twisting your words. Old you replies 10 times, heart racing, scrolling for hours. Stoic you, one line. You're free to feel that way. I see it differently. Then you move on. Marcus Aurelius said, you always own the option of having no opinion. Modern translation, you are not obligated to enter every argument your ego is invited to. This phrase respects their freedom and protects your peace. Identity shift. I don't chase validation. I stand by my choices. Now we raise the stakes, because sometimes it's not just disagreement. It's chaos, disrespect, emotional games. People who don't want understanding, they want control. For that, you need a harder edge. The fourth phrase is a door slam without shouting. I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone. Read that again. Not please calm down. Not why are you yelling. You set the condition. Calm, or nothing. You're on a call, voices rising, tension building. They're interrupting, blaming, attacking. Old you matches their volume, says things you regret, hangs up shaking. Stoic you waits for pause. I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone. If it continues, you hang up. You're face to face with someone who keeps talking over you, twisting your words. Old you tries harder to explain, gets flustered. Stoic you. I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone. We can talk when it's calm. Then you physically step away. This is not manipulation. It's boundary. You're telling the world, if respect is absent, so am I. Seneca said, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. When you say, I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone, you're choosing delay over damage. You're refusing to let someone else's chaos turn you into a man you don't respect. You break the loop. You protect your peace. You show, without shouting, that your presence in a conversation is a privilege, not a guarantee. Say this in your mind. My calm is non-negotiable. If you're feeling that shift inside you right now, let it register. This is you moving from reactive boy to disciplined man, from noise to dangerous calm. You've now learned how to draw the line, how to say no, how to stand by your choices without arguing, and how to shut down disrespectful conversations. In the next part, we go even deeper. We'll talk about the final phrase, the one that isn't just about what you say to others, but what you say to yourself. Because the way you speak to your own mind is the foundation of every boundary you set in the outside world. Look at how far you've come in this video already. You're not just collecting phrases. You're rebuilding the way you show up in the world. First, you learn to say, that's not acceptable to me. Then, no, that doesn't work for me. You stopped chasing. You started drawing lines. Then you took back control of your frame. You're free to feel that way. I see it differently. You stepped out of pointless battles. And when things turned toxic, you learned. I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone. You chose your calm over their chaos. This is not small. This is you stepping out of the old version of yourself. The one who tolerated, explained, begged, and walking into a new identity. A stoic warrior, dangerous calm, unshakable spine. But there's one battlefield we haven't fully addressed yet. The most brutal one. The one that decides whether all these phrases actually stick. Your mind. Because if you still talk to yourself like you're weak, like you're unworthy, like you're always messing up, then no phrase you tell the world will ever feel fully true. So here's the final phrase. The one you don't say to them. You say it to yourself. I refuse to abandon myself again. Let that sink in. I refuse to abandon myself again. Every time you ignored your gut, you abandoned yourself. Every time you stayed where you were respected, You abandoned yourself. Every time you laughed off disrespect to avoid conflict, you abandoned yourself. That's why it hurt so much. Not just because they mistreated you, but because, deep down, you joined them. You sided with them against you. The Stoics knew this pain. Seneca wrote, "Most men are harmed by their own opinions of things, not by the things themselves." Your opinion of yourself, your worth, your standards, that's where the damage starts. So now you change it. Next time you feel that old pull to people please, to chase, to bend, you pause, you breathe, and inside you say, "I refuse to abandon myself again." You're in a relationship and they cross a line. Your body tightens, your heart races, your mind starts creating excuses for them. Right there, in that storm, you say quietly to yourself, "I refuse to abandon myself again." And suddenly, that's not acceptable to me. Flows naturally. At work, they push for one more unpaid favor, one more sacrifice of your time. Your old pattern is to comply. Now, before you answer, you remember, "I refuse to abandon myself again." And suddenly, no, that doesn't work for me. Feels honest, not forced. Late at night, your brain replays every mistake, every rejection, every moment you felt small. You're tempted to call yourself a failure, a loser, not enough. But you stop. You realize attacking yourself is just another form of self-abandonment. So you say, "I refuse to abandon myself again." You breathe. You let the storm pass. Epictetus said, "You are not your body, your possessions, or your reputation. You are your choices." Tonight, your choice is this: to stand with yourself, to protect yourself, to stop throwing yourself under the bus for people who wouldn't even cross the street for you. You are becoming a man who moves through life like a warrior on a battlefield. Calm eyes, steady steps, clear lines drawn in the sand. The world will still test you. There will still be storms. There will still be people who take your silence as weakness and your kindness as something to exploit. But they're not the ones who decide who you are. You are. Look in the mirror, really look. You're not the same man you were when this video started. You're not perfect. You're not finished. But you're awake now. You've got the phrases. You've got the boundaries. You've got the identity forming in the fire of your own discipline. In the final part of this video, we're going to pull everything together. You will get your marching orders, a clear path for how to use these phrases daily, how to live the Stoic strength, and how to carry yourself so that respect isn't something you chase, it's something you naturally command. Take a breath. You've started the transformation. Now we seal it. By now, you can feel it. Something in you has shifted. You're not just a man who knows some good phrases anymore. You're a man who understands what they stand on: self-respect, discipline, and a calm, dangerous kind of power. You started this video tired of being overlooked, over-explaining yourself, and living with that quiet ache of not being respected the way you know you should be. You walk through each phrase like a blade being forged. You learn to draw a hard line when something crosses your values. You learn to say no without apology. You learn to step out of pointless debates and emotional traps. You learn to walk away when the tone goes toxic. And most importantly, you made a promise to yourself that you will not abandon yourself again. This is what Stoicism looks like in real life. Not emotionless, not robotic, not detached from everything. It's you standing in the middle of life's chaos and holding your ground. It's you choosing to respond instead of react. It's you deciding that your peace and your standards are not up for negotiation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." For you, that means this: if you think like a beggar, you will speak like a beggar. If you think like a warrior, you will speak like a warrior. These phrases only work if they come from a man who genuinely believes he is worth respecting. So your work from here is simple, but not easy. First, start small and consistent. You don't need to wait for a huge confrontation. Use this strength in daily life. When someone pushes your time, your schedule, your priorities, practice calm, firm responses. Let silence do more work than scrambling explanations. Second, remember that your tone is part of your power. You don't have to shout. In fact, the more grounded your voice is, the more weight your words carry. Speak slowly. Stand tall. Breathe before you answer. Third, hold the line when it gets uncomfortable. There will be moments when saying no feels risky, when walking away feels lonely, when enforcing a boundary feels like you might lose someone. But here's the truth. Anyone you lose by respecting yourself, you are already losing by tolerating disrespect. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery for you isn't jumping off cliffs or doing something insane. It's the courage to choose yourself when people expect you to fold. It's the courage to let some doors close so better ones can open. From this point on, you walk differently. You don't chase chaos. You don't audition for love, friendship, or respect. You show up as you are, clear, calm, and willing to walk away from anything that requires you to betray yourself. If this resonated with you, join this brotherhood properly. Subscribe. Share this with a man who needs to hear it, and keep training with us. You don't have to do this journey alone. And drop this final affirmation in comments so it's stamped in your mind. I respect myself loudly, even when I speak softly. Remember this: in a world full of noise, your real power is not in how loud you can shout. and how unshakable you remain when everyone else is losing themselves.